So today we commemorate Canada's first National Day for Truth and Reconciliation. It's a day meant to honor the children who suffered in residential school system and to recognize the trauma of the survivors, their families, and the communities that still exist today. This past summer, as a small gesture, the staff and volunteers tied orange ribbons on the bridge that you actually crossed on the way in to honor those that survived the residential school system and those that did not make it home. After this ceremony, we'll be inviting guests to add more of the ribbons following the smudging.
I'm very pleased at the fact that we're all here together to mark this first National Day for Truth and Reconciliation in Canada. And I'm heartened by the fact that there are so many people here wearing the orange shirts. Whether you are or not, you're here. And I'm pleased to be joined by some of my colleagues in public life, in particular my colleagues, Councillors Paul Ainsley and Jennifer McKelvey, but also people I work with all the time and who help us to build a better city, Gary and Sangari, DJ Thanagalasam, and Mitzi Hunter, the latter two being members of the provincial legislature. This is a day when we are given the opportunity to recognize the ongoing trauma caused by residential and day schools. As Dolph said, those who survived and those who didn't. And, you know, we often, in having a day of reflection like this, think of these things as things that happened way off in the distant past, when in fact the last residential school closed in 1997, not 1897, 1997. And there are thousands and thousands of survivors still alive today, not to mention, of course, those who are honoring today. We're honoring them all, but those who did not survive. And it is a day as well when we can reflect on not just the residential school trauma that is a sad and shameful part of our history, but also on other forms of injustice that have been experienced by our Indigenous peoples over a long period of time.
This morning, I watched as my two girls got ready for school, 12 and 10. They were rushing around, yelling and screaming, sometimes fighting, but they were at home. They were in our home. For many generations of Indigenous children, that was not the case. We know that the federal government in particular, the government that I represent, had a great deal to do with this. We forcefully removed children from homes and returned them as strangers. We broke families, we broke communities. And the trauma, the intergenerational trauma that persists today is a direct result of the colonial policies of successive governments.
Okay, I would like to sing a song, so I'm just learning this. This is a song, it's from the East Coast. It's called Baby by Earth Owl, and it is a song that of a mother singing to a child that has been taken to a residential school. So. Weya hey ya, Nijuwaji. Weya hey hey, Nijuwaji. Weya hey ya, Nijuwaji. Weya hey hey.
Today is a day to reflect and recognize that since May, more than 1,300 graves have been uncovered in near the sites of former Indian residential schools. We have a responsibility to honor the children whose lives were taken too soon and to recognize the trauma the residential school system inflicted on survivors and its intergenerational impact. We must commit to learning, and we must commit to acting. We must all commit to a better future and a relationship with the Indigenous community of Toronto that is based on the recognition of rights, respect, cooperation, and partnership.